Welcome to your midweek meditation here every Wednesday at 12:30 Eastern Time with just a short 5 to 10 minute meditation practice for you that you can take into the rest of your week. And for today's practice, we are talking a little bit about increasing joy by decreasing our judgments. And here, what we're going to do is kind of talk about the difference between this doing mode versus being mode. I personally have always been quite a doer, and I will say my meditation practice has helped me shift much more into a being type of person. So, if you're unfamiliar with what that means, a doing person, or particularly the one that we would like to call is driven doing, is where you're very goal oriented, you desire to achieve a certain result, and you're consistently benchmarking how you're making progress. So you're looking at the past, the current moment, and the future to help benchmark how you're doing in that doing mode, as we like to say. While in the being mode, it's kind of the opposite. You're allowing things to happen, you're accepting them to show, accepting them how they are happening. And this will help to kind of reduce those judgments because often when we're making judgments, they're connections to things that have happened in the past or in the future, or things that we might not even know about in our DNA, for example, something that might be, anxiety that can run in our DNA because we've had anxiety for so long and it's what's the word? I can't remember, but it's basically changed since, you know, the times when we were running from saber-toothed tigers and stuff like that. We had anxiety for a reason because we wanted to stay safe, keep alert, make sure that we weren't getting eaten and stuff like that. So that is why kind of anxiety exists a little bit, and learning how to accept that it's here and allow it to be just as it is part of the being mode. And in also connection with the being mode, there's also this idea of accepting everything else that is happening, not just looking at what your benchmark is, looking at what you need to do next, but instead allowing you to experience the moment in full color, basically, instead of this narrow view. So we can go ahead now and move into a short little meditation. If you had any questions on this doing versus being mode, feel free to drop a comment down below and I will try to address them. But to get on with the meditation, we are going to be practicing a little bit of non-judgment and acceptance. And this is going to help us practice shifting our mind into that being mindset, allowing us to decrease the action or goal orientedness of ourselves and allowing ourselves to accept what is here, accept the beauty, and allow it to be. So, wherever you are, I want you to find a comfortable seat. Maybe your legs are crossed or you're seated in a chair, finding a nice long spine. Let's take 3 breaths together. Take a nice breath in through the nose, filling all the way up. And then exhale and release, letting everything go. 2 more times just like this. Nice big inhale in through the nose. And exhale out, releasing, letting everything go. Last time, making the best one yet. Big, slow, and even inhale in through the nose. And exhale and release, letting everything go. Allowing your eyes here to soften or fully close down and away from the screen to help reduce that visual clutter. Allowing your mind to find a little bit of stillness here. Welcome your attention to the quality of the breath in your body. Without any judgment, notice how the breath is moving in and around the body. Maybe it feels shallow. Maybe it feels deep, smooth or jagged. Whatever way it is, there's no judgment here. Allowing yourself here to just take a moment to Notice what it feels like to be sitting in this space, breathing in and out of this air. Maybe you start to begin to notice your mind drifting off. And when you notice your mind drifting off without any judgment, return back to the breath. And the next time that your mind begins to wander, allow yourself to look at yourself as a neutral bystander to the thoughts that might be showing up for you. What do you see? How are you feeling? Can you notice these thoughts and emotions without being pulled into the driver's seat, but instead remaining as a neutral passenger to your thoughts? You, as this bystander, have no knowledge or history of what these thoughts or feelings might be relating to. But you, as the bystander, are only aware of these thoughts and emotions that are showing up in the mind, not getting too attached to them, simply noticing them. And if you can, call to mind a recent judgment that you had. Maybe this is a simple judgment, maybe simply your mind wandering during this practice. Or maybe it's a judgment you've had towards someone else, or maybe even yourself. Call to mind this one judgment. As you're beginning to imagine this judgment in your mind, bring your attention to what the body feels like. Are you gripping or holding on to anything? Are you tensing? Maybe if you're seated down, you notice yourself leaning forward, kind of towards the edge of your seat. And if you notice this, start to lean back, gently aligning those shoulders over the hips. Looking up at the space between the eyebrows, maybe you give yourself a gentle massage here with your hand and just allow it to soften and relax. Maybe you notice your teeth are clenched. So try creating some space between the top teeth and the bottom teeth, allowing the jaw to relax and soften. Explore this judgment from a bystander perspective. Was this judgment something that you had total control over? Probably not. We have, truthfully, little control over some of the way we feel. Sometimes it's based on things that have happened to us in our past, or maybe it's just in our DNA. See if you can explore this judgment with kindness and compassion for yourself. See if you can start to loosen the grip of judgment. Maybe you start to notice the judgment that's in your mind starting to melt down and away from the body. As you start to relax, visualize that judgment, that thought melting away from you. Just as quickly as it came, allowing it to dissipate down into the ground, leaving you feeling light and relaxed. Whether your judgment was something about yourself, something you may have said to others, it usually comes back to some deeper judgment, known or unknown, about yourself. And as a reminder to be less judgmental, Lao Tzu said, "Because one believes in oneself, one doesn't try to convince others. Because one is content with oneself, one doesn't need others' approval. And because one accepts oneself, the whole world accepts them." Acceptance and non-judgment starts with you. You can take up one hand or both hands up to your heart space, taking a moment here to connect to the beating of your heart, the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe. And we'll repeat this one affirmation aloud or to yourself. I accept this moment exactly as it is. I accept this moment exactly as it is. I accept this moment exactly as it is. Sending yourself this little note of gratitude for taking the time to practice non-judgment and acceptance in the art of being here in the present moment. And in this little love note to yourself is a reminder that you can take this practice wherever you are and access it anytime you need it. We'll close this practice with 3 cleansing breaths. Take a nice breath in through the nose, filling all the way up. Open mouth exhale, sigh it out. 2 more times just like this. Nice generous inhale in through the nose. And exhale out through the mouth. Last one, making it the best one yet. Nice big even inhale in through the nose. And that slow and even exhale out through the mouth. Allowing the eyes to blink open, lifting your awareness back here into the present moment. Thank you so much for meditating with me for your midweek meditation here every Wednesday at 12:30 Eastern Time. And I will see you next week at 12:30. And if you enjoyed this practice, be sure to like, follow, comment, subscribe, all of those things, and tell me how this practice went for you. Are you in the doing mode? Or are you in the being mode? And what about your judgment? How is that? All right, I will see you next week. Have a good rest of your week.